Yo, what's good, everybody? We have a special episode today of Love the Game. We have a special guest with us, It's my guy, somebody who I respect a lot, somebody who I've worked with. Josh, please introduce yourself. And welcome to Love the Game, bro.
First of all, I appreciate y'all for having me on. What's going on, everybody? My name is Joshua Bass. I'm a student here at Morehouse College,
Yes,
uh,
sir. Yes, sir.
the house, studying sports journalism, and a combination of other things as well. But yeah, I'm just excited to be on to have a conversation about some of the best players from the best draft classes, talk about everything when it pertains to loving the game. So let's get to it.
Yeah, before we start, bro, um, what got you into basketball, and then do you have a favorite team?
Okay, smooth. So as a kid, I love all sports. The only sport that I really don't watch or don't understand is soccer. But other than that,
Mm.
I love every sport. Like you could put me in a at a tennis match, and I'll tell you what's going on. You could put me in a live baseball game, and I'll sit through every inning, even if they go to 15 innings. So I just love every sport. But as a kid, I was surrounded by, a lot of male role models, including my grandfathers, uncles, and a plethora of other individuals. But in particular, when it pertains to my favorite basketball team, which is the Los Angeles Lakers,
Mm.
my grandfather from an early age as a kid, he was a LA fan. He's a fan of every LA team, far as the Dodgers, all the way down to the Lakers. And so for me, it just started in my childhood. That was all I was around. I grew up, learning about every sport because sports was essentially in my family like the backbone of life. Like if you understood sports, then you understood life, and then you knew how to operate in the real world. And so, just all of those things. So, yeah. But the Lakers are my favorite team, as some people might say. It's true. I am a Bron fan, so I rock with the Lakers, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Shout out the Lakers, man. Today we're gonna basically rank um the best players from each draft class. Some answers we might have similar answers, some answers might be different. But yeah, I'm really excited. So to start, we got the 2003 NBA draft class. Um, I guess I'll go first with my pick. I chose LeBron. I feel like that's not a crazy take. Yeah.
I think everybody's gonna choose Braun for this one.
Yeah, yeah, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
For those who don't know his accolades, he has four NBA championships, four Finals MVPs, four MVPs, 21 NBA All-Star nominations, 13 All NBA First Team nominations, five All Defensive Team First Team nominations, excuse me, the Rookie of the Year, and he's an NBA Cup winner. You guys have any honorable mentions that you got or honorable moments that you've seen LeBron do in your lifetime?
Um, all time. I ain't never seen nobody, come close to breaking the all-time scoring record. So I mean, when you put that on the list as well, like if we're being honest, he's not just the best from 2003. Like I said, I'm a Braun fan, so I'm biased. But you
Yeah.
know, I don't really see nobody else touching Braun in regards to draft class and all of those sorts. Braun is the coldest out.
For
Yeah,
sure.
for sure, for sure.
I remember like the moment I became a Brown fan, because I ain't gonna lie, like for a while I was like a little kid, kind of just like hating on Brown, just like trying to like be different, like not denying his greatness or anything like that. Just like when he would play the Warriors in the finals, I would like root for the Warriors against Brown. I also just really liked Steph, but like I remember it was the day before the Eagles played in 2018. He had a game against the Timberwolves. I think it was on like ESPN or TNT or something like that, but it was on national. And I was
Mm.
watching it win the overtime. He had like a 30-point triple double when he hit the game winner. I was like, yeah, this guy's just so great. Why am I hating on him? Like, so that was like the day I became a Brown fan. And it's funny because I got pictures of me like as a young bull in a Brown jersey. And like I grew up and just didn't like him for a while. But yeah, that was probably my favorite Brown moment watching that game.
Yeah. He said, why am I hitting on this man?
Yeah, I was like, bro, I'm like,
You're
he's
good.
just
You're
so
a good
great, bro. I
brother. You're a
can't
good
hate on him.
brother.
Because the team was bad too. I'm like, I can't hate on this. He just single-handedly won them this game. It was so crazy, bro.
Now,
Yeah,
I will say the only other options that I can think about coming close to Bron is Melo and D Wade. Those are
yeah,
the only two
yeah,
other options off the top
yeah.
of
But
like
even then, I feel like it's like it's levels, bro, because it's LeBron. You feel me?
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna
It's
say like a notable moment. I remember. I mean, obviously, like you have the 3-1 comeback. I feel like the 2018 LeBron year was like that's when I was like, oh, LeBron is different. Like
yeah,
that.
he's tough.
Like I feel like from my perspective, I already knew LeBron was like a great player. But that 2018 team, especially when they traded everybody and it was just LeBron and basically us on the floor, like that was really impressive as a fan to witness LeBron and then dropping 50 in the finals. That was
Yeah.
crazy. That was really crazy.
Aside from the Pistons, like just ignore them in this statement. It's pretty impressive how well the top of this draft drafted. Like
Yes.
four of the top five players are Hall of Famers. And
Yeah,
those are like the
yeah.
four best players in this draft, like far and away. And it's like, yeah, they missed on Darko Milicic, whatever. Like it was like Dirk was in everybody's mind. They were trying to find the next Dirk or whatever. So like he got him drafted at number two. But like for the top five making the Hall of Fame and being the four best players in the draft, that's pretty impressive. I don't think we're going to see that too much going forward. But
Yeah.
You know, I
shout out to
agree.
them.
And that, but yeah, with 2004, um, I know I got Dwight Howard. Who do y'all have?
Yeah, me too.
I feel like we all got the same picks. I'm gonna have to start disagreeing with somebody.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see because it's gonna get crazy. It's gonna get crazy.
Listen, since you taking Howard, and I don't want to be like you,
Heard
my
you.
boy Max Kellerman said, with the fate of the universe on the line,
Oh.
dollar. Man, I'm taking Iggy. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay. All right. I'm not gonna lie. I see the vision with that take. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Because Iggy, he's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. He has a lot of iconic moments. I feel like he's a really valuable player if you wanted to build your team. So I feel like it's not really a bad choice, especially given how like Dwight Howard's prime, you could argue kind of like didn't I guess like the longevity wasn't as far as you'd want it to be. So I
Yeah.
don't think that's a crazy take. Cole, what do you think?
He does have like a when you said Hall of Fame, I started looking at his resume. He's like kind of like an Al Horford type take with like a little bit more winning, but a little bit less individual accolades. So that is pretty interesting. I'm not sure I think he'll make it, but to me, I don't know. I valued peak a little more over
You're not
longevity.
sure Iggy gonna make it?
Yeah, I mean he's a one-time All-Star, no-time All-NBA. So I don't know. I don't think it's like
Ooh,
set in
that's a
stone.
hot take.
I
Okay.
don't think that's a hot take.
The reason Iggy's gonna make it, I know for a fact, Iggy at some point, he might not be first ballot or anything, but the reason he's gonna make it eventually is because you have to look at his role that he played in every single
Yeah.
final appearance he was in. He's essentially like how for when the Miami Heat were going on their runs, when LeBron was there in the early 2010s, he was essentially like the glue that held their offense together for the Warriors. They kept going on their runs. Like you can't deny his impact. Like he's two-way. Yeah, he played in the league for a long time. And then everything he did up until the finals, and then what he did inside of the finals. You can't deny that. Only thing you could take away from, was when Bron handled business in 3-1, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I'm taking Iggy. I'm taking Iggy. I gotta disagree with you on that one. Just for the plot.
I honestly I'm not mad at it though, because like I mean, bias take, Sixer legend, people gonna know him as a Warrior, but real ones know him as a Sixer, you feel me? I would say like for Dwight Howard, um, reason why I chose him was mainly because of like how dominant he was in the late 2000s era. He has three Defensive Player of the Year awards, four All Defensive First Team nominations. He was a five-time NBA rebound leader, two-time NBA blocks leader. He won a championship, and he was actually a vital piece in that championship. Now, Iguodala, I know he has what, three, four? He has four, right?
Or
Four.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, um, I understand why again Iggy could be a better pick over Dwight Howard. I don't know, Cole. You want to piggyback off of me?
Yeah, I'm just not buying it. I mean, Dwight has four top five MVP finishes. Iggy doesn't even have an All NBA. I think to me it's pretty clearly Dwight.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. All right. 2005. I got Chris Paul.
CP3, I'm going with you on that one.
Yeah, I'm right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. For those who don't know, Chris Paul, 12-time NBA All-Star nominations, four-time All-NBA first team nominations, seven-time All-Defensive first team nominations, five-time NBA assist leader, four-time NBA steals leader, the rookie of the year. And unfortunately has not won a ring, but I feel like he has a lot of notable moments. Can you guys give me some of your favorite memories of CP3?
I was a huge Harden fan. I still am a Harden fan, but he was probably one of my favorite players growing up. So it's them on the Rockets team together. I wasn't sure how it would work, but I genuinely to this day think is one of the greatest what ifs ever if Chris Paul didn't get injured in that series because I think that that team had a shot at taking down the greatest team I've ever seen. And Chris Paul was a huge part of that. So I don't think he gets enough credit for what he has done later in his career, even though he
Yeah.
peaked earlier.
I can't lie. I think I don't have a select favorite moment of Chris Paul, but what I will say about CP3 is how he commands the floor when he's on it. Like,
Mm,
it's undeniably, like, as soon as CP3 steps on the court as a PG, as a point guard, you have to pay attention to him because he can dribble, he can pull up from the midi, like, he can do all these different things. And so, if you take your eyes off him, he's going to open up the door for somebody else who you took your eyes off. So, it's like, it's hard to guard a guy like that. And as many professionals would say, you can't stop him. You just can contain him. So CP3, I think just moments when he was just himself, just a different type of beast. Like you can't stop CP3 nowhere. I'm sorry.
yeah. To piggyback off of you, like, um, Chris Paul, I feel like is a really impressive point guard just because of how tall he is, and like you said, how he can control the game at 6 feet. I think like a couple favorite memories I have of Chris Paul. Honestly, like, I'm a Steph Curry fan, so I ain't like the Rockets like that. But I was really impressed with his bubble year with the OKC Thunder, because like the Rockets essentially like kind of kicked Chris Paul to the side, and they thought he wasn't gonna, get to the playoffs with a struggling, well, not a struggling team, but a team that people didn't expect. What they expect, bro? It was like 13 games that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they thought they were gonna win 13 games. So the fact that he carried them to the playoffs, the next year he went to the Suns and they went to the finals. Those are some interesting playoff memories, or not playoff memories, interesting notable memories. And I remember like in 2020, a lot of people were talking about Chris Paul in the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are a couple memories that I have.
Smooth.
Yeah. 2006, before you came here, Josh, me and Marco were talking. We said this was an interesting year because there were a couple decent players in this draft. Um, my pick is Rajon Rondo.
Yo, I'm starting to think you're reading my mind. I got the same pick on my thing right here. I
Okay,
read
okay,
that
okay,
earlier. I have the same pick. I have Rondo.
okay. Cole, you got a different pick?
Yeah, I
Okay.
actually had Rondo third behind Kyle Lowry and LaMarcus Aldridge. That was the two for me. That
Ooh.
was tough. I think
Hmm.
I did say I valued peak more, and while I do think he peaked like as high as those two,
Yeah.
I did think the longevity was lacking compared to Kyle Lowry and LaMarcus Aldridge, and I did lean LaMarcus Aldridge because of his five-time All NBA selection. Um, but peak for peak, if you want to argue Rondo, you're not gonna have an argument from me, like because I completely think that's fair. But I just think of it too, just we're doing it at a high level for a longer time than Rondo, even if Rondo was a productive bench player on a championship Lakers team.
Hmm.
Only
Hmm.
thing I'll say about Aldridge, I'll agree with you on Aldridge. He was a menace inside the paint. Like,
Bro, his midi was unguardable, bro.
I'm sorry, like Rondo, no shot. No three ball. You
That's
might
real
get one or
talk.
two for the whole year. No, I'm trolling. But Aldridge was a different beast inside the paint, man. I can't even lie. That I might have to agree with you on that one. If I had to change a pick, I have to go Aldridge on you.
Yeah, bro. Like 2006, that's a crazy year. Like again, to piggyback off of Josh, like I don't disagree with the LaMarcus Aldridge take. I just think that Portland Trailblazers just didn't build around him properly, and that's why people, I guess like your average NBA fan might not see LaMarcus Aldridge as like a quality NBA player, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
But Rondo, I mean, I remember seeing him win championships when I was a kid and then seeing him win championship in the bubble.
Yeah.
And I mean like he was similar to Chris Paul where he would change the game. Um, could play really deep, could play really hard defense. He contributed to winning basketball. So yeah, I felt like especially on that bubble run, he was like one of the most important players on the Lakers to win that championship. So
Exactly.
yeah, so,
For sure.
The Lakers are not winning that bubble championship without Rondo.
yeah, seriously
Don't
though,
change.
seriously.
I don't care if you got Braun on your team or not.
This is like a smaller shout out, but I think Paul Millsap could have belonged in this
Okay, okay,
conversation. I
okay.
wouldn't have had him over the other three if I'm being honest with you. But I want to give a shout out to Brandon Roy. I think if Brandon Roy didn't have degenerative
Mm,
arthritis, I actually think that this probably would have been his to win. Because he did make two NBA All NBAs before all that. And it's just sad what happened. You only got 6 years in the league. I think this would have been his, if I'm being completely honest with you. So I just wanted to give him a shout out for that.
nah, that's a good shout out. That's a good shout out. Shout out Brandon Roy, man. 2007.
We know who.
Yeah,
We
I got KD, man. I got
Mhm.
KD.
we ain't gotta say nothing. We
Yeah, I
know.
mean, generational player. The KD hate definitely is warranted, but I do think sometimes it gets overblown. So for those who don't know, um, he got NBA championship, two times Finals MVP, an MVP, 15 NBA All-Star nominations, six All NBA First Team nominations, Rookie of the Year, and he's won the NBA scoring championship 4 times, which is really impressive.
He
You
just need
guys,
to cut that hair. That's all. He just need to cut his hair.
y'all got any notable memories with KD?
I'm gonna have to say his MVP run. That
Oh,
first
okay, okay, okay. So you was
first
watching back then when
MVP
you were a
run.
young bull, bro.
Oh yeah, like even when I was a kid, like I people think it's crazy, but some stuff you remember as a kid, like those first MVP runs that he had. He was tough. I can't even
Yeah,
lie.
facts, facts.
Like even if you just go back and watch some of the highlights, like, you don't remember games, you can just tell his energy and his flow. And then the second one I would say is when he went down against the Raptors in the finals. Up until that point,
Facts,
nobody
facts,
was
facts.
touching KD. I'm like, I was mad in my room when I found out, we just beat the Warriors 3-1, came back, beat them 3-1 from 3-1. Then next year they go and tag team and pick up KD. And then we lose, and then we keep losing, and then they ended up getting they go up against the Raptors and he gets knocked down and gets hurt. I'm like, up until those years, prime KD years in my opinion. Like
I
nobody
get that. I get that. Yeah.
the physicality that he played with was on another level. Like it was just different. I can't even lie.
Cole, you got any memories, bro?
Yeah, I think my favorite KD moment, Ray, I forget if it was you or Isaiah, but I remember watching the Foot on the Line KD game at Jameson's house. Was it
Oh,
you or was it
facts,
Zach?
facts,
I
facts,
remember
bro.
watching that over his
Yeah,
house, and I don't know, he was probably one of my favorite players when he was on the Thunder, but I was just like a young boy. I probably wasn't like tuned into a lot of his games just because I was relying on what was on national television and stuff like that, to like be able to watch him. And I wasn't like as big of a fan like when I was a kid as I was like at that point.
mm.
But I just like never forget that like watching him what he had 50 that game. I just never forget that performance.
Nah,
One of
that
the
was that was a
greatest ever.
crazy game, bro. That was one of those games where yeah, we were probably together. I was like, bro, this is
Yeah.
arguably one of the greatest basketball games I've ever watched. Like, it is still crazy now, like 4 years later, if his foot wasn't on the line, like what would have happened? That's like a genuine what if?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, bro. 2008. I know I have my pick. Um, 2008, I got Russ.
That's both y'all pick.
That's my
Yeah,
pick.
it's
Who
my
you
pick
got,
too.
bro?
I'm going with D Rose.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm going with D
Ah,
Rose.
that's a good one. That's a good one, bro. That's a good one. Okay, why D
I
Rose?
I think, and I'm not dissing Russ. Russ is a great player. Russ is physical. Russ is Russ. You're not touching Russ going coast to coast. And even in a half court zone, even in a half court setting, you still can't touch Russ if he gets into open space. If he cooks and gets into open space, you're not touching him. But D Rose, without a doubt, was cold. You're not touching. There's no way in the human land that you could guard D Rose without you breaking a sweat at some point. Like you just you can't. It's hard to contain him. Like you can't stop him, but it's even harder to contain him as well. So like D Rose, when he was at the end of his career and he had one of those games where he went off.
He had 50. He
The
had
50
50 on
Yeah,
pointer,
that
yeah,
game.
yeah,
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 I
yeah. The
cried after
50
that one. I
point.
ain't gonna lie. He was my favorite player going up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so thinking about players like that, I'm sorry. I can't choose Russ. I can't choose Westbrook.
I get what you're talking about with choosing Derrick Rose over Russ. I think the main reason why I chose Russ is because like one, longevity. I feel like Russ was able, like, Derrick Rose, man, he one of them ones, man. Shout out Derrick Rose. He just never had the like ever since 2000, ever since he got injured, basically, like, he wasn't able to continue where he left off.
Yeah.
Actually, bro, I remember where I was when I saw that injury, bro, because he was playing the Sixers. I
Mm.
was out, bro. I was playing Legos. I was playing with Legos with my man's Duarte, bro. We're in his like room chilling, watching the game, and we're
Dang.
like, oh yeah, whatever. Dang, the Sixers just lost. Typical NBA playoffs vibes, like it's random Saturday, Sunday. Then all of a sudden we see Derrick Rose on the floor, and we're like, yo, what just happened, bro? Because I knew the magnitude of that moment. And that was basically the reason why the Bulls lost that series. Like,
Yeah.
because I remember when we beat the Bulls, we were hyped. Like, I was jumping around my dad and my dog, like we won a championship. So it's
Yeah.
like Derrick Rose was a huge part of that Bulls team, bro. I will talk about Russ, but Cole, you got anything you want to say about Derrick Rose?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair. I think he had like he not suffered those injuries. I think I also would have had him number one. But like Russ over the course of his career has played like double the minutes of Derrick Rose, and by no fault of Derrick's, Russ was able to sustain his peak for longer. So that's why I went with Russ. But I think if you're looking at peak for peak, I think Derrick Rose is a completely fine pick. You're not gonna hear me say a bad thing about Derrick. He was my favorite player when I was a kid.
For
Yeah,
sure.
man. Yeah, like Derrick Rose, one of the GOATs. I just feel like, Russell Westbrook. He kind of he his peak is higher than Derrick Rose's based off the fact that he, in my opinion, like he averaged a triple double, went off, did his thing. It's just the team never really built around him correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah. Uh 2009. I'm pretty sure we might all have the same player. We
We
got
just
seven.
skip it. We just skip it. We know who everybody going with.
All right, yeah. So I'll say the accolades and then y'all can give me some of y'all notable memories. So accolades for some of y'all that don't know: four championships, two MVPs, NBA, 11 NBA All-Star nominations, four All NBA First Team nominations, two NBA Scoring Championship awards. He's a steals leader, and he also has a Finals MVP. What are some of y'all's notable memories about Steph Curry?
I hate to say this because y'all, I'm a Bron fan,
Go ahead, bro. So, speak your truth.
but I won't lie. He looked good when he played against Cleveland. When he won those championships, he looked unstoppable. Like,
Facts,
man,
facts, facts.
every night I used to go home and just cry because I was just so, I'm playing, I didn't cry. But man, Curry in that peak time from 2015 all the way up until around 2020, 2021, I didn't know what to say. I was stunned every night. Every night.
Yeah,
Like
that's real. That's real.
anytime he came on the television, stunned. Especially when he hit his buzzer beater, he do the little sleepy thing. Curry was a different beast. Different beast.
Cole, you got any significant memories, bro?
Yeah, my favorite memory, this is like just more personal, like 'cause it was going to watch the play last year. I just remember I was talking about it with my dad, like especially after the Olympics, like hey, his career is coming to an end. He's still one of the elite players in the NBA. We were talking about it. It was like it was at the point of the game where we were like rooting for the Sixers to lose games so we could keep our pick. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I want to go to this game and genuinely root against us. live because that's unethical. And then like the day of the game, he like comes into my room. He's like, I think we should go to the game. Like, yeah, you're right. And he had like 29, and it was amazing. I'm so happy I went. I'm so happy that he taught me into it. That was my favorite memory, just being able to watch him play live. It
That's
was
tough.
pretty
That's
special.
tough.
Well, I would give a shout out to James Harden. I think in a lot of drafts
Old
he would be the
facts.
best player there, but it's just Steph Curry, like the top five player of all time, in my opinion. So it's just like got dealt a bad hand when you're
Yeah, he
looking at who
probably
the best player
traveling
for
to
the draft
Paris
is.
right now. Traveling to Paris. That's all. James Harden.
Yeah,
Right?
I want to give my dog a shout out, bro.
shout out
Rock with
James
James.
Harden, man, Sixer legend. We miss you,
Mr.
bro.
Travel around the world.
Now we're on 2010, the year 2010. I know it could be definitely a little interesting for some people. I got Paul George.
I
I
can't
did
argue
so.
with that one. I
Yeah,
can't
I
argue
did
with
so. John
You
Wall, I
like?
think, is my favorite player in this draft because he's one of my favorites ever, but I couldn't justify putting John Wall above Paul George in this. I ain't gonna lie.
I agree. I
I
agree,
think
bro.
PG, he's two-way. He got the two-way impact down, offense and defense, clutch moments. Especially that one of those last runs when I can't remember which team he was on, but yeah, he's tough. But I do feel bad for him because he did get dropped off by Dame. So if I had to choose
Real.
one
That's
because of that,
real. That's real, bro. For some positivity though, I'm about to give you his accolades, bro. 9 NBA All-Star nominations. He has one All NBA First Team nomination. Uh, 2013 Most Improved Player and 2019 NBA Steals Leader. He was also a 2019 MVP candidate. You guys got any notable moments? Because I feel like 2019 Paul George is one of mine.
Mhm.
Notable moment. The 2018, 2019 season is definitely my favorite Paul George season. You remember that game winner he had like off the Euro step and it was like the floater over the ball? I forget what team it was, but I just remember
Bro,
watching it. I,
if
I
you
was
show
at
me the
Outback
clip, I
Steakhouse.
will. But I don't
I was
remember it
at
off the top
Outback
of my head.
Steakhouse watching that game, and I saw that. I'm like, damn, he might really win the MVP. He ended up coming in third that year, but I thought that was like just an amazing season.
Yeah,
And it almost made me mad in a way because he's so talented. And he was like an unbelievable player. But
yeah,
that was like the highest points per game he's ever averaged in his career, and it was 28. And I'm just surprised it wasn't like a more consistent thing from him because he really could score at all levels. He could score at the rim, he could shoot the three ball, he could
Yeah.
score in the mid range. And I was just always a little bit surprised that his scoring output wasn't like similar to what it was that year.
Hmm.
I definitely agree with that, dog.
Josh, you got any notable memories or not?
Nah, not for this one. I'm not a big PG fan like that. So,
Were you
I
paying attention when him and Braun were going at it, bro?
not really because I was rooting for Braun. So like, if you was against Braun, you was against me. That
I
was
feel
when
you. I
I
feel
was just a bandwagon, just to be a bandwagon.
I
But
feel it. I
like,
feel it.
now with Braun coming close to retirement, I have to actually pick a team that I'm gonna root for. And
Hey,
I didn't really pay attention to it. I was just like, you know what, bump him, bump him. That was what I paid attention to. We were not
I feel
friends.
you. Hey, you wanna root for a team that has passion, bro. 76ers right there, bro.
I'm okay.
I would,
I'm okay.
yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't even wish that on you, bro. And I'm
That,
like,
that's a
I
death
die
wish.
with my team, but I wouldn't try to convince nobody to do that.
That's a death wish. Y'all
It
couldn't even
is, it
call
is,
him
it is.
in check.
It is, unfortunately. But we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back. Um,
Y'all say this every year. Every Philly fan in every sports, y'all finally got a Super Bowl,
the
and
second
y'all
Super
are
Bowl,
the
actually.
happiest
Yeah, I
Second
fan.
gotta
Super
go get
Bowl.
them.
Second Super
Yeah, we got
Bowl.
them.
You know how many times the Packers have won a Super Bowl? We're not gonna go down the football route because then that'll be a whole nother episode. We'll
Yeah.
leave football alone.
We might do an LTG football episode one day. You never know. You never
You
know.
never know, man.
You
You
feel
never
me?
know.
Okay. 2011. This is another year that is me and Marco before you got here, we were like, this was kind of a hard year for us to choose. A lot of good players in 2011. I went with Kyrie though. I'm not gonna lie.
I knew you were gonna pick Kyrie. I got number 12 Tobias Signal. I I got Kawhi. I
I'm
think he
I'm
peaked the
torn
Not
highest.
bad. That's
between
not bad.
Kawhi and I'm torn between both of y'all picks. I don't
I
know.
thought Jimmy Butler would have been an okay
I'm
pick,
surprised.
but
I'm
I
surprised
want Kawhi.
none of y'all said Clay. Because
I don't know.
Oh no no no
that's
no.
why this is the hardest one for me. Because Kawhi, Kyrie, and Clay are like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not choosing Clay. Clay is not. I don't think Clay is necessarily an impact player on the same level Kawhi and Kyrie are.
Ooh, I see. I
I
disagree
can
with
win
that,
a
bro.
championship without Clay Thompson.
I
Mm,
think that he's on Kyrie's level of impact. I don't think either of them are on Kawhi's level of impact though.
Kyrie's not on Kawhi's level of impact?
Definitely not. No,
What?
I
He's
don't think it's close.
listen. Kyrie is definitely on the same level as Kawhi. Here's why. Number one, 2016. I don't even have to say no more after 2016. The Cavs were not winning that championship without Kyrie making that crazy shot at the end of the year. At
I
the end of
mean, the Raptors aren't winning without Kawhi Leonard, and he was the best player on that team.
exactly.
Like,
That's why they're on the same level.
no, that's not the same level because Kyrie was the sidekick to LeBron on their team. And yes, they don't win without him, but being the number one on the championship means way more than being the number two.
Two things can
I
be
get
true
that.
at
I get that.
once.
I mean, Kyrie's never received an MVP vote. Kawhi's multiple top five finishes.
So what do you say to the people? What do you say to the players who were tough but never received the MVP, who were impact players but never received MVP because they had somebody covering their
I'm,
shadow and covering their work?
I mean, that's fine. He's still a great player. I ain't say he wasn't a great player, but he's just not on Kawhi's level.
I
See,
got
like
that.
I get the Kawhi. I get Kawhi. I think the reason why I chose Kyrie over Kawhi, well, if anything, I probably would have had Kawhi third because of injuries, bro. Like I'll keep it a being. Like that's the only reason why I feel like Kawhi isn't higher on my list. Just because the back half of his career is so crazy. In terms
I
of
mean, Kyrie's
Kyrie,
only played 40 more games in his career, so I'm not really buying that one
okay,
from
okay.
Kyrie.
Look, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Look, I'll give you that. But we both know, right? Kawhi's been in and out since 2020, bro. Kyrie, he's been in and out, but he's been more consistent in 2020s than Kawhi has.
Yeah.
He just got injured this year. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Um, but I don't even I'm not mad at that take though, because Kawhi is he's a good guy, bro. He's a good player, bro.
Yeah, he is.
2012. I know this could be an interesting year for a couple of y'all. I chose Anthony Davis. Okay, who do y'all have? Who do y'all have?
You need to go first, Margo?
This was the hardest one for me. I ain't gonna lie. I was stuck between AD and Dame. I I ended up leaning AD. I want to give a shout out to Draymond Green. I think he's one of the most underrated NBA players of all time. I
Yes.
just didn't think that he could shoulder a load like the other two could above him, even though I think that he like impacts winning like near the degree of the two people above him.
I got two. I'm going with Dame for my pick,
Okay,
but I want to give a special nod to Brad Bill.
okay.
Um,
That's an interesting pick. That's an interesting pick.
I got to give a special nod to Brad Bill. Brad is, if not the one of the most competitive people that you would watch. But Dame, no, I'm sorry. I'm choosing Dame over AD. AD is too inconsistent, and this is coming from
I
somebody
get
who
that.
roots for
I get
AD.
that.
I agree with that. I think that's
I
fair.
think, you have like my issue with AD is when it comes down to the playoff time, he plays phenomenal throughout the regular season, but we get to game six, game seven. Where are you? You're non-existent in a lot of big moments. And if we go back on the records and we go back on stat sheets, if you look back at AD's performances when he played in game six and game seven, he was non-existent and Braun had to pick up slack or somebody else had to come off the bench and pick up the slack. If you're a star player and you're the best from your draft class, you cannot have nights like that in a game six or a game seven.
I don't blame you for that take. I don't blame you for that. Well, I guess so. You got any notable memories with Dame, like just growing up watching Dame?
His game winners, all of Dame's game winners are some of the best game winners I've seen in
Facts,
comparison to
facts.
MJ and Kobe.
That's facts. I'm not gonna lie. Some of his game winners are some cold highlights. I can't even lie. I remember like,
My favorite day moment was against the Nuggets. That one
Yep.
game. Yeah, I know what
oh
game you're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah.
That's
That
my
was a
favorite day
crazy
moment.
game. Yeah, bruh. I okay. Like I'll say though Dame is definitely valid.
Mhm.
I chose AD just because of his ceiling. I feel like he's achieved a lot more than Dame currently. Who knows? Dame might have a crazy year when he comes back from injury. But I also think he just impacts the floor more than Dame in terms of defensive ability. He can't shoot as well as Dame, but he can still shoot threes if needed. He's not the best 3-point shooter currently, but I think he can get his way back up to how he used to be.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, that was basically the reason why I have AD over Dame.
fair pick. Fair pick. I
Yeah.
hear
Yeah,
you.
I can't be mad either way, especially because Dame has like 100 plus more games and like two more All NBAs. Yeah, I can't be mad either way. That was the hardest one for me.
Yeah.
I thought they were like,
Yeah. 2013, I think we all have the same guy, Giannis.
mm,
I
yeah,
got
this draft
Giannis.
was pretty weak. Yeah,
I got Giannis at one for offense. I
Okay.
got Rudy
Okay.
Gobert at two. I got Rudy Gobert at one for defense.
I
Hmm.
agree. I agree.
It's not bad. I don't see personally like I feel like Giannis is way better than Rudy Gobert because he does both. But why did you think about Rudy Gobert in this category? I'm interested.
Off Offense sells tickets and sells seats. Defense wins championships.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I can't.
You got any notable defensive Rudy Gobert memories?
Anytime that he's always inside the interior, but I don't have a necessarily top pick from when, he did something spectacular because he's not a spectacular player. But what he is he's a defensive pest and he controls your offense better than you control your offense at times just by
Mm,
standing inside the paint. And the reason I say
mhm,
this is because if you go back and you watch any piece of film that he has, if he's standing inside the paint, you're forcing the team to shoot the ball from the exterior because they know they're
Yeah.
not going to get a point inside the interior. They know they're not going to hit a bank shot. They're not going to hit a layup. So if you got him inside the paint, you're forcing that team, that offense, to go around the exterior and try to swing the ball and get some momentum. And by the time they get momentum, your offense is probably drained down from all the moving that they're doing. And then the defense is drained down, which is a pro for the offense. But
Mhm.
still, you got a lot of movement just from one guy standing inside the paint. And when you got a guy like that, his impact is undeniable, point blank, period.
Yeah, that's not a bad analysis. It's not a bad analysis. I like that. I would say like for me, like Giannis, he's gotten better every single year he's been in the league. Um, I feel like he still has like he just finished top three in MVP voting, and I think his ceiling is still, you know, I don't know what his ceiling could be, but it's out the roof basically.
Yeah.
Um, he's on the back half of his career, but I still believe that he has like as long as Milwaukee actually builds a team around him, he can compete for a championship. I don't think they'll do that this year, but depending on how the dominoes fall, who knows? But yeah, that's why I have Giannis there. Cole, you got any thing else to say about Giannis or Rudy?
Yeah, I'm actually really glad you gave Rudy Gobert his due, Josh. Because while this is like pretty clearly Giannis's, I do think Rudy Gobert deserves to be shown some love because I do think he gets like overly criticized by the media and by fans because I like agree with what you
That's
say. He's
fair.
like not a
Yeah.
spectacular player in the sense that like he's not gonna have the crazy highlights like a backboard block that like an Evan Mobley or Anthony Davis or even like a Giannis would have defensively. Um, and like offensively, even if he's impactful, sometimes he's a tough watch because his hands aren't good. He doesn't really have a bag, but he'll clean up offensive rebounds, catch lobs, and like be able to do stuff. And he's also like kind of changed the way defenses play in the NBA with like all the shooting that goes on now. Like he's one of the greatest drop coverage bigs of all time. Like not too many bigs could do it like him. So I'm glad you gave him his flowers because he does deserve it. I think he's
Yeah,
one of the most underappreciated players.
for sure.
Yeah, that's good, bro. 2014, I got Jokic.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Do y'all got or excuse me, do y'all have any notable memories of Jokic?
Last championship run.
Okay, okay. So,
Last couple championship runs. When he beat the Lakers to, go to the championship and all of that.
yeah, facts, facts, facts. How was that kind of like experiencing that like as a fan?
You bringing back trauma. You bringing back trauma, Doc. No, no, no. Seriously, like I was mad. Of course, I'm mad every time my team loses, but
Yeah.
because I'm very competitive. But I will say, I can't deny when somebody is great. Like Jokic is flat out great, and all the man wants to do is go ride his horses. Like you can't deny that. He's a unique big who is able to pass and score at an all-time elite level. He's had multiple MVP seasons, and he's been all NBA few times. I want to say, so when you got a guy like this who's a unique big, especially in this modern era where the three ball, you live by the three ball or you die by it, you got to have a big who can do it, and Jokic can do it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Jokic, I feel like is super dominant. He always figures a way to either score the ball or facilitate towards an assist. Um, and I mean, like, because we're Sixers fans, so they compare Jokic and Embiid a lot. Um, and I guess like I don't like I can't speak for Ko. I mean, he might agree with me though. Like it took me a long time to really appreciate Jokic for what he is because I
Yeah.
feel like fan bases they're always trying to like while propping up Jokic, they try to demean another player. And I think that's why sometimes a lot of people don't necessarily give him his flowers that he does like deserve a definite amount of flowers. Um so yeah, like I yeah, that's all I had to really say.
Yeah, I think you phrased it perfectly. Being a Sixers fan and Embiid fan especially, like I was definitely hating on him for a while, like trying to get the MVP or whatever. But now with Embiid's knees falling apart and just like knowing that there's like no rivalry anymore because it's like the best we could hope for is like 50 games and like maybe an All-Star appearance and Jokic is one of if not best in my opinion, still the best player in the league. Um my favorite Jokic memory was Paul Reed dropping 30 on him. It's like no, my favorite my favorite Jokic memory was watching the 60-point triple double this year. I stayed up and watched that full game. That was just like a crazy game. Even Aaron Gordon was amazing in that game too. Like double overtime game and I know they ended up losing because all the Westbrook stuff and stuff like that. But that was just one of the most incredible games I watched. Was so definitely from this year because I would say this is the first year I was like rooting for him in like some circumstances. I wasn't rooting for him in that game because I did like the Timberwolves more, but yeah, being able to appreciate him more recently is pretty nice. I ain't gonna lie.
And then for y'all that don't know some of his accolades, because I forgot to mention it earlier, he has a championship, a Finals MVP, three MVP awards, seven NBA All-Star appearances, and five-team NBA First Team nominations. Um, so now we can go on to 2015. This could be a interesting conversation. Because I feel like it really boils down to two people specifically. But for 2015, I got Cat.
I got DB.
That's not a bad pick. That's not a bad pick.
I got Devin
Oh,
Booker.
Yeah, this one's tough. If you asked me before last year, I would have said Devin Booker, but I feel like
you too.
Cat is like being unlocked offensively in New York right now, so it's tough. Damn, I'll go. I'll go Cat because he has one more All-Star game and one more All NBA. But I think they're very similar, like levels of player. And I think Devin Booker has peaked higher as a first option. So I can't be
I
mad
agree.
either way if you
Yeah.
pick either one of them. I will say one player one here who is just like lacking the like availability of these two players who I think would have like maybe been on their level is Kristaps Porzingis.
Mm,
I thought he was a really special player on the Knicks, and I still think he's a pretty underrated player when he's able to play in terms of like impact. But the thing is, like, they really don't even know what's wrong with him. He's just like sick, and they have no answer. So he just won't ever be on those two players' level of impact. But yeah, I think Cat and Devin Booker are very similar in my opinion. Just based maybe it's recency bias, but just going off like the recent year, I'll go Cat. I also think Devin Booker's in a tough situation going forward too. So if I'm projecting a little bit, I think Cat's in a way better situation, and that'll help win him some awards in All-Star games. So I'll lean Cat.
yeah. I agree a lot with what you said, Cole. Josh, why do you have Devin Booker as, the best player in this draft?
I got Devin Booker as the best player in the draft, in that draft class, for the simple fact that his offensive game, his ability to spread the floor, we could look at Cat's awards, All-Star nods, his All NBA picks, that he spaces the floor for a big. He has strong stat seasons. But when we're talking about from a leadership standpoint on an offensive floor, yes, we know that offense sells seats, and that's what you need to win games and all this other stuff, all that cool cliche stuff. But when we're talking about a point guard, a shooting guard, Devin Booker is the epitome. of what it means to literally be able to space the floor, see the
Yeah.
floor, pass the ball and make the right pass, just drive and make the right read, do this and make the right play there. You need a
Mhm.
playmaker like that if you want to win a championship. And it's just so unfortunate that the Suns, they never got a champ. They haven't gotten a championship out of Devin Booker when he played on those big runs and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
Devin Booker is a beast on the offensive end.
Yeah, I
So
mean, like it was hard for me to choose between Cat and Devin Booker. But like kind of similar to what Cole said, I feel like these like if we look at the back half of these 2 years, I feel like Cat has had significantly like better seasons because of where he's been and how he's contributed to his team's success. Um, it's crazy because our previous episode, or not our previous episode, a couple episodes ago, we ranked our like top players by position. And something that I said was, the reason why Devin Book, because I ranked him third on like my favorite shooting guards. And I was like, the reason why he's third is because his teams, like, he's had so much talent and unfortunately has not capitalized on that talent. And it's not fully his fault. Like to what you said, like I think the Suns are also a big reason as to why Book isn't where he should be right now. Um, it just felt like, Cat, he was one of the biggest reasons why the Timberwolves beat the Nuggets last year in the playoffs. He played phenomenally in game 7. It was literally the only reason why they won that game. And then, this year, he had an elevated offensive year with the Knicks. You saw how he could, help the Knicks potentially win a championship. So, yeah.
I think the Suns are just a bad franchise. Like I think that like kind of what holds Devin Booker back too. Is because like you'll see Matt Ashby get in there with like the new owner syndrome and then like spend all their draft capital and like Kevin Durant and then get Bradley Beal's contract and I don't even know why that was a movable contract and then just completely handicap roster construction with like three players who are like in their own right all really good players but kind of don't really fit together in a team building thing where it's like defense is none of their strong suits that Kevin Durant at this point in his career
Yeah.
all of them like really love to work in the mid range and stuff, and just like that's three max contracts, and you really have like no roster flexibility outside of them. Yeah, I just wish you would get out of there. I know it's a little bit like they're still missing a lot of their picks, but I like how he's going to look with Kamau Malewich and stuff, and he should explode offensively because they don't have much like there other than like him, and I guess Jalen Green is going to take a lot of shots, but. Yeah, I wish he would be in a more competitive environment. I was kind of hoping he would get moved, and I still kind of am just for his career. I think it would be really fun to watch him play with Cade Cunningham. I know that's the rumor, but yeah, we'll see. Because I'm a fan of his, especially after the Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah. 2016. I felt like it was kind of like a calm year. So I chose Jaylen Brown. I don't know if you guys have him.
Yeah, this was a tough one for me though, but I chose him.
I got
Josh, you got.
Siakam.
Ooh, that's not a bad
Not
one.
mad at
That's
it
not a
at
bad
all.
one. That's not a
He was
bad one because I was thinking about
that's
him
who the
too.
other person I was thinking. Not mad at it
Yeah.
at all.
Okay, so
I was
why
about to
you
choose
choose
Ben
Siakam?
Simmons. I'm choosing Siakam for his peak years.
Okay.
And
Would you
I do
count this year
want
as a peak year?
huh?
Would you count this year as a peak year too, or no?
I would count this
Okay,
year as
okay.
a peak year. I think so many times we try to focus on when people are in their primes, but in reality, I think every player has multiple primes throughout their career, especially if they have a long career, more
Yeah,
than 10 to 12 years. If you have more than 10 to 12 years, then you have a long career and you're probably going to have multiple peaks, which is why we've seen LeBron have maybe 3 to 4 different peaks during his career. His
yeah,
opening peak, his peak with Miami, his peak with the Cavs, and now his peak with the Lakers. So, like, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to Siakam, it's just like, he's I lengthy, tall. I don't want to get too graphic, if you will, but he's lengthy, tall. He's elusive, can move throughout the court quickly, go to coast, can spread the floor out just as well as a point guard can with the same height, if
yeah.
not more height. So, I'm taking Siakam.
That's not a bad pick, bro. Because Siakam, I think up until when he got traded to the Pacers, I felt like he was a little bit overrated because of the Kawhi run, even though he was a big part of that run. So it's good to see that Siakam's kind of getting his flowers because I think after this one, he's really cemented himself as one of the best power forwards in the league.
No
It's
doubt.
gonna be a fun year from both of them too, because both of their like star players are hurt. So
Yeah.
both of them have to take over as the number one. So seeing what they're going to do is like leading their own team. I'm excited to see that, especially from Jaylen Brown, but Siakam as well. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, we have seen it from Siakam. That's why I'm more excited for Jaylen Brown. But yeah, still
Yeah,
excited for that.
I think I chose Jaylen Brown over Siakam just because like a recency bias. I think he's been like, being a Celtic, he's been in way more playoff atmospheres, finals atmospheres, than Siakam. Even though like the Raptors were still kind of booming around that time, I think when you compare, who's had more playoff experience, Jaylen Brown probably nudges him by a little bit or edges him by a little bit. Um, so yeah, I still feel like Siakam can, potentially be the best player out of the 2016 draft class just because of his amazing run this past year. And then also, I think he's going to get better after this year. And then when Halliburton comes back, that's going to be a scary team. That's going to be a scary team.
for sure.
Yeah. Um, 2017. I don't know you guys have because I thought it would be more of a consensus, but I'm starting to now see is not as much of a consensus. I have Jason Tatum.
Yeah, me too.
Josh, who you got, man? I know you got somebody else, bro.
You know what? I I'm stuck. I'm stuck between Tatum and Mitchell.
Oh yeah, okay. So why are you stuck in between choosing Donovan Mitchell over Tatum?
Tatum, you know, I just don't see that leadership out of him yet. Like
Hmm.
for him to be the star player on the team, it seems as if Jaylen Brown is the leader of the team. And you cannot have that. If you're the star player, then you're the leader of the team.
Hmm.
And so Donovan Mitchell, he's the clear leader on his team and any team he's played for.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
But for the sake of the episode, I'll choose Tatum. Multiple All-Stars, All NBA selections, clutch playoff performances. I'll go with Tatum. I'll go with Tatum for today.
Hey man, we don't want to choose Tatum like that either. I can't lie. I can't lie.
Yeah, I
With
like
all
Spider
respect to
way more.
Jason
I just
Tatum,
I just had to
yeah, we
choose
just don't
Tatum.
like the Celtics, bro. Like
Yeah,
we don't like giving the Celtics players props. They're just tough, unfortunately.
They
You
are
know.
tough. I can't.
Um. So like yeah, like Jason Tatum. Honestly, Donovan Mitchell isn't a bad selection. I just chose Jason Tatum over Spider, mainly because he's won a championship and he's led a team to the championship. Um, he's had multiple finals runs at that. Um, and he's also like I would say like some significant moments that I've seen from him. Like the 2021 year where he kind of blossomed into his own, even though they got gamed by the Nets like 4-0. To come back that following year and then beat the team that beat you and then go all the way to the finals, I felt like was really impressive. Um, 2023 playoffs run was also impressive because unfortunately he beat the Sixers in historic fashion. Um, and then 2024 championship.
Yeah.
So yeah. 2018. This could be a interesting year because I feel like, bro, I feel like there's a obvious choice. It's just the comments are gonna be like, "Oh, what? You're tripping." I have Shay. I have Shay.
Luca.
yeah. I'm gonna lean Luca just because I think he's more accomplished at this point in his career. At this point in
Mm,
time, who do I think the better player is? I think it becomes closer. And coming off the year Shea had, I think I would give it to Shea and would want to see Luca come and like snatch that title back. But I think both of these guys are fourth at the worst players in the NBA. I think these guys are easily two top four players.
yeah.
I'm just going on. I think Luca came into the league a little bit more pro ready and had more success earlier on in his career. So I'm going to reward him for that right now. But it's still a lot of time left in both of their careers. And Shea is one of my favorite players in the league, so I'd love to see him continue and become like a top 10 player of all time and take this from Luca. But as of right now, where it stands, I think I have to lean Luca Doncic.
Hmm. All right. Well, I'll say though I understand Luca is a really good pick. I feel like just this past year SGA, these past 2 years, honestly, SGA has been undeniable. Um, though the Dallas Mavericks did beat Oklahoma City last year, I feel like this year, Shea, I mean, you talk about someone who can create their own shot, still win at a high level, and still be the focal point of your offense with different defenses. Like, I think Shea is just an anomaly. That's kind of like the best way I really can say it. Like, um, to me, it just feels like a lot of people are still not willing to at least entertain the conversation because I think Shea has proven that he at least deserves to be in a conversation of, yeah, I'm as good as Luka Doncic. Like, I don't understand why that's like a crazy statement from my point of view.
Yeah,
Uh,
my current NBA rankings, I would have say higher, but just like in terms of like
yeah,
who's been the
like
better pick. Yeah.
hold on, because I was pulling this up, because we were talking about the playoffs. Luka's only been in the playoffs one more year than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Um,
Really?
bro, because he made the playoffs his rookie year with the Clippers against the Warriors. And then he made the playoffs the following year with the Thunder in the bubble, you know?
Mm.
So like, yeah, he's had the experience. I just feel like a lot of people aren't saying it because it's OKC and OKC took their time to build the team that they are now. So yeah.
Smooth.
All right, 2019. I felt like it was an obvious choice. I have Ja.
I'm going with Ja too.
Yeah, me too. I like low key thought this one was tough though.
Okay,
Coming off
who are you choosing between, bro?
well, coming off of last year, I was thinking because I don't know the way Zion ended last year, it like kind of made me happy as somebody that like believed in Zion coming out of Duke a lot. Because he finished the last season on like a strong note. The thing is, I like really just don't think they know what's wrong with Zion, and people want to point to weight. I'm really not sure. I don't think they're sure. Would losing weight help? Probably, but I don't know. And then the other person I was thinking, one of my favorite players in the league right now, too, coming off a really good year. He doesn't have the responsibility of the other two, but I think Darius Garland.
Yeah,
Um,
that was underrated.
if
Yeah, yeah,
if Ja and Zion both struggle with injuries going forward, I think he could take this from them. But as of right now, I would also go Ja Morant.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I chose Ja. I was actually surprised that like he doesn't have as many notable moments as I thought he did. I will say that. Like I think his rookie bubble year was crazy. His 2021 year was also really significant because that was the first year they made the playoffs. But that 2022 year was really like his breakout year to me.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like those are just kind of like some things that I was thinking about. I don't know, Josh. Why'd you choose Ja?
I just think Ja is electric. When I think of Ja Morant, the first word that comes to mind is electric. Him and the next person in the next draft class that we're gonna talk about. Uh,
I see. We probably got the same guy. We got the
yeah,
same
yeah,
guy. I
yeah,
know
yeah,
it.
yeah. But Ja, he's versatile. He's competitive. These next two classes, the last two classes rather, it's just a different level of edge. Like,
Yeah.
it's bringing back that Jordan style of play back in, in the 90s with 92, 93, 96, 97. Like, you know, nobody's touching Ja on the competitive edge. And when you have that edge, nobody's going to be able to stop you unless they just have that same competitive edge and y'all on that same level.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, bro. And with that being said, 2020, I feel like we all have the same player. So, is it cool if I say Ant?
And I'm going with that.
Ant-Man,
This,
bro.
this draft is loaded and fun though. Like
Yeah,
I
I know.
love
Yeah, it
Hallie.
got
I
it.
love Tyrese
Yes.
Maxey. This draft
Bane,
is
bro.
fun.
Bane is in that one.
Yeah, Bane, LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
LaMelo.
it's really crazy. Like to piggyback off of you, Josh. Like Ant, bro. He really brings that intensity, that energy. And I'm really excited to see where he's gonna go from here. And I don't know if you were no, you definitely were here the year Ant kind of like broke out in 2024. Like
Yeah.
Atlanta was jumping, bro.
Yeah.
Just being a part of that and seeing the ascension of Ant, bro, like yeah, it was fire. It was fire, bro.
Every time we used to go downtown, I would go to a bar or not a bar, but like a restaurant where you could watch the game and stuff like that. And ATL was different when Ant was balling, boy.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
So yeah, I'm going with Ant, man. I'm going with Ant. Again, man, I appreciate y'all for letting me come on. Just talking about some of my favorite players, some of my favorite picks. Anytime I have a chance to talk about sports, I'm always open to talk about them. But again, man, salute to y'all. Y'all killing it. And yeah, this is why we love the game.
Yeah, bro. We appreciate you for coming on, bro. Obviously, you're welcome back. Um, so just let us know whenever you want to come back, bro. It's a fun time. Always excited for the new season. Josh, where can they find you at?
So everybody, y'all can find me on Instagram at Joshua, JOSHUANBASS_. That's my personal page. And I have my own show as well called Blacker Than Black. And on IG, it's Blacker Than Black Pod. And on YouTube, it's just the Blacker Than Black podcast. But again, man, shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all, man.
Hell yeah, bro. Cole, you got anything to say before we dip?
Yeah, just Josh, appreciate you for coming on. Like Ray said, you're welcome back anytime. Love having guests, especially ones that love basketball and know basketball and can have provide insight and different opinions than we can.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I just appreciate that, and I appreciate anybody that watched to the end and participated on our Instagram poll when we asked what
Oh
their
yeah,
favorite process sixer was.
yeah.
We'll definitely talk about those in the episode coming up soon.
Josh, before we leave, bro, give the podcast one question, one basketball question, so they can answer in the polls.
All right, my one basketball question. Who gets the most hate but deserves the most love?
That's a good one. I like that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, yeah.
Who do you think it is? You got an answer?
I got Westbrook. I got
Okay.
Westbrook.
Okay. All right, yeah. So we'll do that, man. Let a game. We back at it again, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Salute. Yeah.